All right. Hey, what's up, folks? This is me. I don't know. I'm not sure if I really have a face for video or a face for radio. My lips are like perennially chapped lately. I'm not sure why. But either way, this is the Rowan show, and we got a grab bag of news today. We got Jimmy Dore just reached like 1 million subscribers, which is pretty based. Like, I was thinking of doing like a personal campaign to like, get subscribers for him, even though he pisses me off a lot, but like he's still like, better than pretty much anybody of his stature on YouTube, or at least in a lot of ways he is. And so, like he's like able to be um he's able to be a libertarian leftist, which is the only consistent position anybody can have. Like, if you're a right wing libertarian, I mean, you just see, like, look at the conflicts between right wingers and libertarians, and you'll see why. You'll see the inherent, contradictions. Like, a lot of libertarians don't call themselves right wing anymore. They don't call themselves conservatives. They're just like, we're libertarians. But leftism without libertarianism is just fake. Like, the only real leftism that's faithful to the founders of the left, like Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Paine, and Lafayette, Marquis de Lafayette, and all these other people of the Age of Revolution that founded the left and supported the left wing of the French Assembly. The only way to, the only people who are actually in that tradition are people like Jimmy Dore, who at least um, are relatively libertarian, pro freedom. Libertarianism used to be used as just another word for leftist. Libertarian meant like, could mean like anarchist, socialist, pretty much like any leftist was referred to as a libertarian. And but then there's a concerted effort by like wealthy Jews like Ayn Rand and then the Reaganite neocons that all work for the CIA and FBI, like Ronald Reagan, to co-opt the word libertarian to mean something right wing somehow, which is ridiculous. And of course, like, the neocons never were libertarian in any fucking way, any more than Stalin was. Like, Reagan was a fucking Nazi. And yeah, fuck Reagan. People would say that they're all about the Constitution and, you know, liberty and all this shit, but they support Reagan are fucking ridiculous. Totally, you know, like, yeah, anybody who shills for pretty much any president in at least over the last like 100 years or something, or maybe longer, is like an enemy of the Constitution, because every president has been an enemy of the Constitution. I mean, maybe you could argue like JFK tried to like be more constitutional and then they took him out. But I think he was questioning Britain about uh Yemen or something, and then that like like, I don't know, like the day before they killed him or something. I mean, there's probably a bunch of people agreed that it was time for him to go. But and even he was not really constitutional, but he was constitutional enough maybe for them to like take him out. That's why, like, all these people who try to make like uh try to you know um what's the fucking word? Like, um, they try to like meet these people halfway and like, like people say like they don't want to, like even conservatism. Like, a lot of these people are basically socialists on some level, like you see them posting stuff and they basically want the government to help out, the veterans and the this and the that, but they still have to like pose as like poor hating people, conservatives who suck the rich dick. They still have to do that because they feel like if they cuck a little bit, then that will be good. But I'm here to tell you that no amount of cuckoldry is gonna help your ass. Like, I mean, lately the elites, they kill the people that cuck for them. Those are the people who die first. Those are the people that they despise the most. There's no, it's like, and throughout history, it's like all these people who were anti-communist and anti-socialist because they were sucking up to that rich dick, just like all conservatives do, like on a daily basis. They suck up to that rich dick every time they talk shit about socialism and communism and everything. Every time they trash like welfare and, they're sucking that rich dick and they think there's money's going to come out of it or something's gonna, good is going to come out of it. No, nothing's good is going to come out. It's like, just like those are the people, like that's who they're purging. They purge their own minions. And like there's so many of the leaders that were, like even, I'm not sure about Fidel Castro, but I know there's a lot of like leaders like that were basically trying to be moderate and anti-communist. Like Mossadegh in Iran, he tried to be like anti-communist. A lot of these ones, they try to suck up just a bit. They're like, well, I know I gotta cuck a bit and suck the rich dick and the global capital dick a bit because that's what you gotta do, right? But they still get capped, just like JFK, right? He was like, went along pretty much, he was only just opposed like the very worst transgressions against the Constitution, and he basically didn't say anything about a lot of the other ones. But that doesn't matter. Like, there's no amount of sucking up that you can do to these people, to the people that run the world, that will ever make them respect you, value you, or reward you in any way, unless it's somehow convenient for them in that moment to do so. There's no telling whether that'll be the case. So, it's like, the fact is, if all these people that were accused of being like communist socialists throughout the years had actually just said, fuck it, let's be communists, let's be socialists, let's actually support the working class and actually, you know, actually overthrow capitalism as we know it. And, they should do it in a libertarian way, which is the only way that would ever be acceptable to the working class, I think, at least in any sustainable way. But, going like so many people like on the right who, and even like Democrats and even supposed leftists who still like regurgitate like McCarthyite talking points against like communism and socialism. And I'm not talking about communism in Russia. You know, I know it's a meme, like they make a meme and it's hilarious. Like when the alt-right is just completely wrong about something, they just make a meme and laugh about it, and then they pretend that that makes them right about it. So the fact that we say like, yeah, Stalin was actually not a true communist, the Pope is actually not a true Christian, Biden is actually not a true free trade capitalist, common sense, but they mock us and they're like, no, it's not true communism, just like the meme. That's NPCs, that's why it's funny when people like that use NPC memes, because that's 100% like NPC retardation to be like, oh, you can't say it's not true communism because then you're just like that meme, you know. So again, these are people who are trying to suck the rich dick just enough that they think will help them. It's not going to help them in any fucking way. Not at all. In fact, it'll be their downfall, just like Mossadegh. Just like all these people who thought like, oh yeah, I could play both sides. I'll fight the communists on one side, I'll fight the socialists on one side, and then I'll fight like the imperialists and like neolibs and, austerity capitalists on the other side. No, obviously the capitalists will fucking destroy you if you alienate everybody else. And I mean, that's just like there's so many people that are involved in politics that their whole passion is alienating people. Their whole passion is like, I mean, you could say like I'm sure I alienate people, but I do it for the truth. If I don't just alienate people on a whim, like just for kicks. Like there's people who they're just like they'll just like any half-assed reason to like totally condemn and deride like vast segments of the population. Though that's their jam. And this is true on the pseudo left, pseudo right, whatever, around the whole bullshit spectrum. And so anyway, Jimmy Dore is like somebody who's actually relatively legit, where he's like, no, he's not gonna. I mean, sometimes he comes off like, sometimes he's a little bit too McCarthyite. Like you can tell that he has a little bit of that, but he kind of fights it, which is good. Like if a person can fight and they're training and learn and grow, then that's awesome. Um, and then he doesn't fall for like the fake left, bullshit of people who say like, oh, if you're a real socialist, you have to be like, you vote for Biden and you have to only care about like identity politics, or like all these fake socialists trying to turn it all into that. Um anyway, but the fact that Jimmy Dore reached 1 million, I mean, it's great on many levels. It's great because like there's basically been a war, you could call it an info war between him and the kind of SJWs and shitlibs posing as leftists on YouTube, and like especially the Young Turks, but also like the whole constellation of cunts like Vosh. I mean, Vosh and the Young Turks are feds. I'm pretty much could guarantee they're just straight up feds, or they're like kind of just indirect. Like they get the money, like the feds give the money to like Pierre Omidyar, and then Omidyar is their handler, but they're feds. And Omidyar is like some Silicon Valley oligarch. Those people only get like that because they're feds, because they're in Epstein's book or whatever, and they like were deemed worthy to, otherwise they would have been destroyed. They would have got you know, McAfee or something. Anyway, I apparently the Hunter Biden laptop is now the New York Times is even confirming that it's real. I mean, I think everybody knew it was real. Like anybody who's not like a complete brain dead, brainwashed MSM watcher knew it was real. But they had like banned like the New York Post, I think, for a week or something, or at least for a while, for like posting it originally, an article about it. And they had all these fact checkers, and they said that there was 50 former, in maybe current and former intelligence operatives that all gave their expert opinion that it was a Russian disinformation operation. So like, which is beautiful in a way, because now 100% that the CIA, that all these people are lying. It said it included 5 former CIA directors. So that included like Brenner. I don't know, like I forget the names of these people, but it's basically everybody, and like maybe Bush, and they all signed this thing. So you just 100% know that everything they say is a lie. I mean, most of us who are not like completely brainwashed, like already knew that, right? But like now everybody should fucking know that. There's no excuse not to know that. Once like they come out, like 50 of them, they're like, oh yeah, we're sure this is the intelligent, intelligence. They're not like if there was just some like idiot on the street and whatever, and then they just say like blah blah blah, okay, but like their whole job is to know this shit, and so they're weighing in as the number one experts, and they're like, no, this is Russian disinformation, but no, it was 100% true. Um, so hopefully that, I mean, hopefully that's a real, hopefully that's not just some false flag psyop. Hopefully that'll actually like uh break some cracks in the edifice of the fucking, elites. Um, yeah, been working on my book, editing it before I print it. Um, my book about the underworld, um, America being the underworld, and called the Beautiful West in ancient Egypt, Amentet Neferet. So it's a book where a lot of it is about the maps, ancient Egyptian maps of America, like the Book of Two Ways and the Hierocompolitan Hellscape, etc. And then it also talks about like the Nordic traditions of hell, like the Hellar Queen, and the Hades for the Greeks and Patala for the Hindus. The Hindus are like the only ones who actually know the truth. Like they know that the underworld is America because they actually still retain some of their knowledge, whereas almost everybody else, like, at least that have contact with like uh multimedia and everything that we would have heard about, they all have lost, they've all been Christianized or Islamicized or whatever for so long that they have no idea what any of this stuff means. So anyway, it's like a 300-page book, and I just have 30 more pages to edit through, and then I just have to touch up the footnotes section, like the sources section a little bit. And then I'm done. Then I'm gonna print it and get it printed as a book, distribute it. So that'll be good. I went out for St. Patrick's Day like the other day. Yeah, was that the other day? Yeah. And so that was cool. I went to downtown Santa Cruz, went to Rosie McCann's like Irish pub kind of place. So they were all Irish stood up, got like the corned beef and cabbage and potatoes, and had a Guinness and some wild Irish rose drink. I cannot drink like anymore. Fuck alcohol, dude. Like, I mean, I had it and I was all right, but I find then it kicks my ass like later in the night. I get a fucking headache from hell, or a headache from. I don't. I need to stop using hell like negatively, because now that I know America is hell and that it was actually a holy land before like Christianity, um, but at least from the Bay, we always did use it positively. We always say hella, like that's hella dope, or like this is hella good weed or something. So, and back in those days, I was thinking like, should I be using the word hell positively if it's supposed to be negative? But now, to my relief, it turns out it actually was or is something positive. It's our homeland. It's this beautiful land we live on. So, but anyway, I went down there, and it's always interesting going out, like, because I just always go alone everywhere, like, even if I had friends that wanted to go everywhere with me, I probably wouldn't want to, because it just, I don't know. It's like, to me, I mean, there's times when that can be fun, but usually it's irksome to have to like tag along with other people, and just, I don't know, like it's just much more freeing to go wherever the fuck I want, eat what I want, watch movies on my own. So I went dancing there, like they open it up, they take out the tables, and they have like a dance floor at night, at least on St. Patrick's Day. And so that was fun. I was like busting some moves, and mogging on all these like not knowing how to dance motherfuckers. And no, I mean it's funny, like, because it was all like college kids from UCSC. Um, Poor bastards, probably all vaxxed to the max. Hope they weren't like probably shedding. Uh, anyway, but can't talk about that on the YouTubes. But anyway, they but it's just funny because like I'm like old and I'm like balding, like yeah. So I come in there and I'm like just like busting out like some, because they're playing like the same music they've been playing for like 20 fucking years in clubs. It's like not even good music. Like they gotta play "I'm in the club, bottle full of bub, but not to me." It's like in all these stupid songs about like, oh, I'm so rich and I'm rich, and there's like no good music. Like, I mean, it's all right, it is what it is, but like, a lot of it is like shit, and it was only like after like an hour or two, then they started playing like newer music. But then I don't know, I find a lot of newer music is just so shouty, or like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's like starting in the 90s, there became like a type of hip hop that's just like people like shouting really loud. I never really got into that. Like I was more into like the lyrical hip hop and like, I don't know, good hip hop fucking that you're never gonna hear in a club. And but whatever, like it was cool. I was like dancing, having fun. People were mostly like cool, or like some people like would compliment me if my dancing or give me some kind of like, I don't know, like it's confusing. Like they'll just like come up and smile and be like pointing at me, and I'll be like, so, but I think that means they're like complimenting me. And but I kind of felt like I was like mogging all these people that like like because they all have this image in their head that they're the coolest young people, and then there's this old guy, like balding guy, that comes in, like, you know they think like, who is this dork? And then the fact that I'm like the best dancer in the club. I mean, I would say I'm not always the best dancer in the club. There's definitely been times I'm not. There's like, especially when I used to go to Campbell and they used to have like break dancers at like the drum and bass place, or it's not always the case, but a lot of times it is the case. And I don't know. It's just funny when I can tell that it's like making people uncomfortable because like breaking their worldview. They're like, I mean, there's some people who just hate to see anybody like good at anything or successful, or, like they just are haters. But especially when it goes against their like preconceived notions or how they want to portray the world or whatever. So like this old balding guy just coming in and like dancing circles around all these like college people is like it seemed like it was probably jarring to some of them. I don't know. But I mean, a lot of people were cool. But then of course there's always the obligatory like um fat chick who like pretends that I'm trying to like touch her, and then she turns around and gets all mad, like some drunk chick who's like 300 pounds. Almost every time I go to any club, there's always that chick. She's really big, she's really drunk, and she keeps trying to mash into everybody, and then so that she can turn around and pretend that somebody's hitting on her. And then like it's, like they even had that in a show recently. I think it was like the fat chick or the larger woman in SNL had a show, and I think it was in that she did that or something, but it was like a joke. But I'm like, that was kind of not. I mean, at least I think that was her in the beginning before she like, when she was like fucked up, and then she like has some aha moment and changes her life or something. Um, but it's so true. There's so many times I've almost had to fight dudes, and I risked my life over this shit. Like gangsters and shit try to fight me over some fucking stupid whore that fucking like knows for sure I was just trying to walk by her and barely touched her arm. But since no fucking dude, like since basically that's their way to feel pretty is to pretend some guy is like hitting on her. So they just turn around and like that they're copying each other because all these chicks wouldn't do the same stupid tactic unless they knew it was a tactic. So evil, like goddamn. Anyway, so some chick did that to me and like so I just had to go like way around her like the whole time, like try to stay away from this evil skank. And always their friends like cover for them and shit. That's another reason I don't like to always go with people because a lot of times like they drag each other down, they cover because I would not be that person. I'd be like, "You bitch, like you're not gonna get me in the middle of this fucking drama with some stranger over just because you feel ugly and you want to feel pretty." Fuck. Anyway, so that happened. That was great. Um, and yeah, what else going on? Ukraine shit is still like all these people are all like, oh yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the guy who is known to have praised Hitler on many occasions, he was the guy that they used to come out and say like, no, everybody, it's fake news to say that the Ukrainians are Nazis. Their president is Jewish, and then he gives some whole like propaganda spiel. These people, it's like Operation Paperclip is clearly like still alive and well. Like these Nazis are fucking running the world. I think the feds created all those like good, aesthetic Nazi memes in like 2016 and onward. Because I was like wondering like where did this fucking come from? I think the feds did it because they're trying to like create like neo-Nazism just like in Ukraine. That's their shit because they are Nazis. I mean, they're just tired of having to hide it and pretend they're shit libs and SJWs. They want to go back to being just straight up Nazis. Um, anyway, what else going on? I don't know. I gotta move, you know, not really sure. Like, I don't know. It's just awkward with my landlords because they're like such hardcore Dems. Like, they're such hardcore pro vax, pro Biden, pro, anti Putin, whatever. Just like, and I just know, like, I know them. I know they'll support anything the TV tells them to, or anything that they see as for their side, no matter how many deaths it causes. And I know them. That's not like part of the equation for them. And anyway, I gotta get out of here, get away from the 5G tower. That's it's like I don't know if you can see it. That tree behind me is a fucking the tall tree is a 5G tower like that they made to look like a tree. And it really looks like a tree now. Like it didn't used to look so much like a tree, but now they grew all this shit on it. Anyway, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I gotta finish this book and then hightail it, do it, and then I'll do my book about the Scotch Irish probably too. But see if there's anything else to say. I don't know. I'm zucked for another, from Facebook for another like 13 days or so for calling somebody a Nazi or saying that they must support Hitler since they love gun control. Um, so yeah, fuck suck. And I don't know. Oh yeah, I was gonna talk more about this mistletoe or the story of Isis and Frigg. But it seems that it's basically the same story, and that actually mistletoe, contrary to popular belief, literally does mean missile, even though it's like an indirect etymology, but that it literally means missile twig, and that it's explained in the story of Frigg, or the killing of Balder, the death of Balder.